Today on
Doomed!
If you weren't sure that it was an election year, then all you really had to do was put on cable news, go to any right-wing media website, or really just check out Twitter, aka X, Facebook, YouTube, and see what the right is obsessing with over there. And you'll know it's 2024, an election year, because of migrant hysteria. All over again. It's like we're living the midterms, the 2018 midterms, all over again, folks. It happens every election year now when the Republicans are getting desperate. And let me pull myself up on the feed here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Doomed with Matt Binder. Now, I had intended at first for this week to be a call-in show week. The past couple of weeks, been receiving lots of phone calls during the second half of the show, and especially last week's episode with David Bixenspan joining me to talk about Vince McMahon. We went like 2.5 hours. I thought this would be a good week because everyone wanted to call in last week and couldn't because there was no time left to do some calls. But then I saw this video from last night, February 6th, on Fox News. And I had to sort of reconfigure my plans for this show. Now, I don't have a guest joining me. We'll be getting a guest on this topic. This is going to be something that the right's pushing for a while now, till November, I'm sure. But I wanted to focus on sort of my expertise in this area, which is the right-wing, reactionary groups, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, the good old GOP at this point. Because this is like really stunning what I saw on Fox News last night. Nothing you'll hear on Fox anymore will really sort of shock you in terms of the content of what they're talking about. But I will say, one thing I was not expecting last night, and I saw this clip thanks to Andrew Lawrence of Media Matters for America. He uploaded it to Twitter. And, I will say one thing I wasn't quite expecting to see, though, the hysteria, the fear-mongering, the scapegoating, that's all part of the course now. That's nothing new, right? But what I wasn't expecting was to see an assault live on Fox News, a vigilante assault live on Fox News, right in what looks like, I believe it's Times Square. It's New York City for sure. It looks like, it says Times Square on the chyron there. A vigilante assault on Fox News while they're live in Times Square on a supposed migrant, and basically it's being celebrated. It's being cheered on. So to set the stage here, I'm going to air the clip, or at least, the relevant minute and a half of it. To set the stage here, Sean Hannity's show, Fox News Channel, Tuesday night, February 6th. They're talking to Curtis Sliwa, former NYC mayoral candidate, Republican, leader of the Guardian Angels, a vigilante group that sort of patrols New York City, parts of New Jersey. They've been doing it for decades now. I think their like big moment was in the 80s. You've probably seen them with their red jackets and red berets. They're a vigilante group. They have no authority whatsoever. No one has empowered them to do anything. And, I mean, at this point, I think I've set the stage pretty well. Let's pull up the clip. It is, I would say it's very concerning to see this on cable news, as like a segment, live on air, and like everything is A-okay. The good guys are the ones doing the assault, according to this segment. Let's watch this. It starts with a interview of Curtis Sliwa, and it immediately gets interrupted. Here's Sean Hannity last night.
If you divide 53 million by 500, that's a $106,000 debit card. Not a bad deal. I don't think they're giving them to vets that are homeless in New York City. Not that I.
Okay, so to set it a little bit more here, the Chiron says NYC Mayor Eric Adams tries to defend $53 million prepaid cards for migrants program. I mean, seems like a good program to me. They're here. They need some sort of resource to be able to buy necessities. Seems like we should be giving them something, right? The whole point is that Fox doesn't want people resorting to crime, and we don't want desperate people doing desperate things to feed their children, to provide the basic necessities that are required for living. So I would say this program is probably underfunded.
Heard, Curtis.
They're
giving them to vets that are homeless in New York City. Not
also, excuse me, also, these programs are never taken from elsewhere. These are completely separate programs. They have nothing to do with homeless vets. If this money wasn't being used for migrants, the migrants program, then it wouldn't go to the vets. This isn't like, oh, let's take the vets. You know, the NYPD is cutting into the New York City budget in terms of closing libraries across the city on Sundays now, which obviously give the youth less places to go on weekends. We want to talk about making sure young people are coming up in a positive space and have things to do. But, you know, no one blames the NYPD for that. But here we go. This is billions we're talking about for the NYPD. But 53 million for the migrants program? Oh, no. Could go to homeless vets.
Well, in fact, our guys have just taken down one of the migrant guys right here on the corner, 42nd and 7th, while all this is
Can you pan the camera?
They've taken over. They've taken over. You'd like the camera over there if at all possible.
They've taken over.
Yep.
So
you got your key open, guys.
the camera turns around. I guess they shut the audio off by accident.
It's out of control. Out of control.
There. All right. Now, Eric Adams often complains he's getting no support from the federal government to help him with the surge of Joe Biden's unvetted illegals in New York. And that could be because of the so-called border czar is a little distracted right now. According to a report, Vice President Harris has now suddenly, quote, found her footing. And she's now apparently getting ready for a future presidential.
All right. You saw. Let's go through this clip again, because the things that he says. Let me put myself up there. This is just stunning. Like, absolutely gross, honestly. Disgusting. This is just so disgusting. Okay, so here we go. Let's play it from where the camera turns around again, and you listen to Sliwa here.
Well, in fact, our guys have just taken down one of the migrant guys right here on the corner, 42nd and 7th, while all this is
Can you pan the camera?
They've taken over.
They've not taken over, and you hear him call this individual that they assault at the the Guardian Angels assault a migrant guy. They've taken over. Let's continue. I got
They've
some news for
taken
you
over.
guys.
You'd like the camera over there if at all possible.
Taken over.
Yep. You got your key open, guys.
Taken over.
He is out of control. Out of control.
Out of control.
All
he
right,
says.
now Eric Adams.
As you see the Guardians Angels, multiple, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, wrestling a single individual, a man down to the ground. They're out of control. Is he talking about the Guardian Angels? Because that's the only people I see out of control
often
here.
Complains he's getting no support from the federal government to help him with the surge of Joe Biden's unvetted illegals in New York. And that could be because of the so-called
one guy has got him in a
czar
headlock.
Is a little distracted right now. According to a report,
Another guy looks like
Vice
he's trying to pull
President
his
Harris
shoes off.
has now suddenly, quote, found her footing.
Vigilante justice right there. Well, let's look at this now from the AP reporting from Jake Olfenhartz of the Associated Press. This was reported about an hour ago on the AP. Members of the Guardian Angels roughed up a man during a live interview on Fox News Tuesday night, then misidentified him as a migrant in a primetime segment meant to highlight disorder and crime caused by new arrivals to New York City. Oh, did they? They've taken over. Our guys have just taken down one of the migrant guys. They've taken over. Sliwa says. The man is not a migrant, says the AP, but a New Yorker from the Bronx. Police said Wednesday afternoon. Though Sliwa claimed the man had been caught shoplifting, police provided no evidence to support the allegation. According to an NYPD spokesperson, officers arrived to find a man detained by bystanders, the Guardian Angels, after he allegedly tried to disrupt a live interview. Police said the man was issued a disorderly conduct summons because he was acting in a loud and threatening manner on a public sidewalk. He was acting in a loud and threatening manner. Did the NYPD? The spokesperson did not respond to questions about whether any members of the Guardian Angels were under investigation for their role in the altercation. Amazing. Amazing. So they were wrong. This wasn't a migrant. Wouldn't make it okay if it was, but just to show you how ridiculous it is. They attacked a New Yorker from the Bronx. Lied about who he was and why they were detaining him. And then even then, the NYPD ordered that guy a summons for disorderly conduct, but nothing for the vigilante group who attacked him. You ready for this one? The Guardian, in an interview with the Associated Press, Sliwa said he had believed the man was a migrant because he was, quote, speaking Spanish, end quote. So apparently, if you speak Spanish, the Guardian Angels will think you're a migrant and attack you. Sliwa continued that other Guardian Angels had encountered him with other Spanish speakers on previous patrols. Sliwa said, this is a quote here, he was put down so he wouldn't hurt himself or anyone else. I mean, This is stunning stuff here. Truly, honestly, the fucking nerve of this guy. Basically, the guy was a heckler. And either he knew that and lied to attack him because he was sick of him following the Guardian Angels around and heckling them, or just speaking Spanish gives the Guardian Angels they believe the right to attack you because that makes you a migrant. They could put you down. Like Sliwa said, he was put down. And the NYPD let him do it. No investigation. No summons against them. No arrest. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the right, the Republicans, aided by the Democratic Party, are fomenting this. They are fomenting this. All this week, the big story on Capitol Hill this week was about the Senate bill, the most right-wing immigration bill, I believe, in decades, was killed by Republicans after Democrats gave them everything they wanted because they want this issue to continue. Trump has made it clear, audibly, this has been reported, that he wants the border issue on the table for him to attack Joe Biden for the elections in November. So even though this is the bill that Republicans wanted, and Democrats gave it to them, they killed it. They voted it down. And then you have Democrats. I got to pull this tweet up. It was unbelievable. Democratic U.S. Senator from Hawaii, Brian Schatz. Just gobsmacked. I've never seen anything like it, he posted on Twitter. They literally demanded specific policy, got it, and then killed it. Oh, just gobsmacked. It's Charlie Brown in the football. He had another post on X too. If you are a moderate Republican who cares about foreign policy or border issues, you are moderate, but you are likely no longer a Republican. You might not know it, but these people have abandoned you. Yeah, if you are a anti-immigrant right-winger, if immigration, closing the border, keeping people who want to come to this country to live out the supposed American dream, but that's why they're coming here to work, to take part in the American economy, to take part in what so-called the American value is of immigrants being welcomed here. This is the melting pot, right? If you're against all that, the Republicans have abandoned you. The Democrats are right there with you. If you're anti-immigrant bigot, I guess the message is. It's so. And then Chris Murphy, U.S. Senator in Connecticut. He posts on Twitter too. Honestly, this is so embarrassing. I'll tell you, it is. But listen to the rest and you'll realize it's not embarrassing in the way Chris Murphy means it. U.S. Senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy. Honestly, this is so embarrassing. You told us you wanted a bipartisan border fix. You appointed the Republican negotiator. We got a deal. Stop the drama. Do you want to fix the border or do you want to keep the border chaotic to help Trump? Just decide, please. Yeah, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing that Democrats have given in to Republicans completely on this issue. Proudly pounding their chest saying it. And then they got played. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's tiring. Between this and Israel's bombing of Gaza. It's what is the purpose of the Democratic Party? I guess the last bastion here is what? Bodily autonomy? I mean, that's a pretty big one, obviously. But that's all they're going to run on? Will Republicans accept pro-choice? But just in terms of stopping it from getting any further, we're not going to do anything about it in terms of what's already been done. We're just here with shields to hold up the defense, but we're not going to take an offense on the issue. And it's interesting. This study just came out. I don't think it matters in terms of, how I feel, obviously, about immigration, or how people who are supposedly progressive or leftist should feel about immigration. I feel that anyone who wants to come to this country should be able to. I believe the situation at the border is unsustainable because what we put people through to get into this country is ridiculous and unsafe and unsustainable. I think we should know who's coming into the country. That's an obvious thing, I think. But we make it impossible for so many people to come that they're forced to come in undocumented. We should make it so easy. Anyone who wants to come in here could come in here. We know who you are because you're registering with us. Here you go. Welcome. And if you need, if Steven says, might be an extreme take, but borders shouldn't exist. Yeah, I agree with you. But I'm trying to be pragmatic here, too, in terms of what we should do. I think no borders is a aspirational sort of take. And I think in terms of policy, I think people, you deal with their concern that we don't know who's coming in. Sure, okay. Now we know. They're welcome. We know who you are. Come in. I think that's much easier. What's the complaint then? was the complaint then. But yeah, I'm with you there. But if you're someone who needs some sort of, they're coming in, they're taking our jobs, which they don't. They don't. There's been numerous attempts in red states, right-wing counties, to punish farmers who hire undocumented labor workers. And what ends up happening is they can't find anyone to work those hard manual labor jobs. And their crops get wasted and they lose money. And then the economy in those counties, cities, states tank. And then there's the other argument. And this study from the Center for Latin American and Latino Studies, American University, Washington, D.C., from the Immigration Lab, just came out the other day. The idea that immigrants don't contribute or they send their money out of the country. The study found that 96% of the monetary value immigrants create stay within the country. In addition, when immigrants do send remittances to their family overseas, the act of sending those remittances through various different channels like bank wire transfers, Western Union, other money transferring services, the act of them doing that contributes to, this is what they did do actually, it contributed in 2022 alone more than $2 trillion to the U.S. economy. So even when they're sending money to their family back to their home country, where their family still is, their act of doing that contributed more than $2 trillion to the U.S. economy in 2022, just that year alone. It's, and then of course you have these right-wing groups getting together, the hardcore far-right anti-immigrant people, the conspiracy theorists, the QAnon folks. They're joining these convoys, going down to the border to, deal with the border themselves, deal with the border crisis themselves. Well, funny enough, as these groups gather down there, people go down there to meet up with these groups, some right-wingers who are taking part are getting a little bit pissed off, actually. Getting a little bit angry that their hopes and dreams and aspirations of defending the border from the migrant horde invading the country, well, their fantasies of being cowboys down there, they can't live them out because it turns out they're not finding these migrant hordes invading to begin with. This is a compilation. It's a long one, but I think it's worth it. It's a 6-minute compilation from Midas Touch of various segments on cable news where they interview right-wingers at the border, And then people uploading their own videos who are taking part in this convoy, what they're finding down there and what they're walking away with. Let's play this clip compilation now.
I was in the People's Convoy, and what a fucking disappointment that ended up being.
Let me rewind next time.
I was in the People's Convoy, and what a fucking disappointment that ended up being. What a disappointment to find out that these people that you were with, they weren't like you. They didn't care about the country. They were a bunch of grifting motherfucking live streamers that wanted to make money off of the people in America who were hardworking and sending their money, little old ladies, old men, people who had to wait for their paychecks so they could give a little bit of money to help people drive around and shout freedom and fight for freedom. And to find out that it was really for nothing, to find out that the people involved, a lot of the people involved that are involved in this convoy right here were really bad people. They were bad people.
Well, the convoy got down here to Texas. Welcome to Texas, I guess. It's just, I mean, this whole thing, follow me here, folks. This is hilarious. This convoy has been told that there's an invasion and this, that, and the other. They came down here with their AR-15s and they were going to save the day. And then they're not even on the border. They aren't, because they all went down there and they took a look and they're like, where's the invasion? No, I'm so serious. Play the video.
I've been talking to these folks who have come from all over Texas, even other parts of the country, to be here. And some of them, even though we are about a half hour from Eagle Pass, have driven down to Eagle Pass to try to actually see what's happening at the border. And I've spoken to a number of people who said that they're a little surprised by what they're seeing here. I want to play a conversation with a woman, Misty. Take a listen.
It's pretty surreal. We actually made it into Eagle Pass and we went and saw Shelby Park. I was able to see some people actually trying to cross and stopped at the wire there. So it's very eye-opening.
And tell me more about eye-opening. Is it what you expected? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's not what I expected, but then again, I don't know what I expected. I can tell you it's not as bad as what I thought. So that's kind of eye-opening in itself too. Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't come up with their talking points yet, as you see, as to why this is not they can't figure out why there's no invasion, and they don't know exactly what to think about that. So let me, before you get some talking point shoved in your ear, right-wingers, let me help you with that. You were lied to. I've been telling you from the beginning, it's all a lie. There is no crisis down here. There is no invasion down here. The federal government has this under control, and Alejandro Mayorkas went down with Anthony Blinken back in December and had a meeting with the president of Mexico and their counterparts down there. They did more to solve this border crisis in one meeting than my Governor Abbott did, wasting $8 billion on this stupid show. This stupid show that convinced you, right-wingers, that there was an invasion down here and you needed to come down here from Kansas and Nebraska and wherever the hell else you came down here to protect America from an invasion that you now see doesn't exist. Yeah, folks, I'm telling you, illegal crossings have fallen by more than half after Mayorkas' meeting in Mexico, because Mexico's cracking down on their side of the border. You know, the government thing, that whole do your job thing. Yeah. So all of this show, all of this theater has been for nothing. All of this money's been wasted for nothing, just to try to get attention. And because there was attention garnered, The freaks came out of the woodwork, man. You got the Westboro Baptist Church style preachers screaming at the convoy preachers, and the convoy preachers trying to drown them. Here, watch this video.
To justify the wicked killers, make your way on inside. Let's make our way on inside. Let's not going to be a part of that. That is not who we are. We don't hate people because they're gay. We don't hate people because of how they dress. We're not here for hating anyone. We're here to protect children and these United States from an invasion at this southern border. We're not here about whatever it is they're talking about. They're detracting from a beautiful and peaceful message. That's not who we are. Not consistent with our values. We will not let them draw your attention. That is not God's work.
Keep that up. Keep that up right there.
Yeah. Some crazy shit, isn't it? That's what these people do. I mean, there's no reality to it. This is what you're following, people. Those people, you right-wingers, that's what you're following. Get it through your head. And it just gets worse. I mean, it's always a grift. That's all these things are to them. It's always just a con. It's just a grift. It's these preachers. There was a couple of preachers involved in coordinating the convoy to begin with. They're these people you always see dunking folks in cattle troughs. Which, by the way, the suggested tithe for getting dunked in a cattle trough is $500. Is what people are saying. They suggest $500 to get baptized in a horse trough. It's all a grift. It's all show. My governor has done nothing to help solve this problem. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was, the compilation was good, obviously, and then I thought hearing this sort of stuff from a guy in a cowboy hat too is helpful. Yeah, I mean, it's this is. It's depressing stuff, honestly, because you're dealing with human lives here, obviously, who are looking for something more, something better, something safer. Most people who cross the border declare asylum. And according to our laws, you need to cross the border to declare that. So the complaints about that are stupid from people who don't even know what they're talking about. All right, folks. We'll be talking a lot more about this in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Because this is going to be Donald Trump's pet issue. And Republicans are learning real fast how they could use Democrats for this. I don't know who Democrats think they're winning over with this one. Honestly, like, with their unwavering support for Israel's massacring of innocent civilians in Gaza, you think they would hunker down on being progressive on every other issue to give their base reasons to vote for them. And instead they're just like moving right across the board. It's stunning. Who are they going to win over? No one. They're not going to win over anyone. One of my reasons months ago, I was bringing up to people in terms of, yes, what's going on in Gaza and Democrat support for it is horrendous. But don't throw migrants and immigrants under the bus by making sure Donald Trump and the Republicans win. Because that's a policy that's worth voting for. Protecting some of the most vulnerable people trying to enter this country. Or who are currently in the country. But I can't use that anymore. I can't. Democrats have made it clear that they're willing to throw them under the bus. Running out of reasons to tell people to vote for Democrats. That aren't Republicans want to do this. Their vision, Trump's vision to end democracy is obviously something worth fighting against. But people are getting tired of voting to fight against something. They want to vote for something. And we'll see. Is that a spider on my monitor? I don't know what that is. It's definitely not a spider. It's too ugly to be a spider. Hold on while this thing is crawling up my monitor. It's escaped. I missed it. Was it a centipede? A baby centipede? That's what it looked like. Well, there's some sort of creepy crawly in my recording closet space. No biggie. All right, folks. I love spiders too. I would have let it go if it was a spider. I usually try to pick them up and put them by the window because it's a better place for them to be. It's a mutually beneficial situation. But that wasn't a spider. So I will kill it. All right, folks. Let's go to the second half of the show. It was too small to be a cockroach. Meganaconda. Too small to be a roach. It looked like maybe a beetle or like a mini baby centipede. All right, let's go to the second half of the show. I'll take your calls, read your super chats. Let me say this up top. The Patreon is trending in the opposite direction. Obviously, that's up to me to do more. I'm working on it. Trying to figure out time, allotment, and what more I can do. But it's trending in a downward direction. Every month, lose a couple people. And then usually I would gain a few people to offset it. So it was sustaining, which is fine. Obviously we want it to grow, but sustaining is okay. But we're no longer gaining people to match the people we lose. And most of the people who tell me they leave is because of financial situations at home. So times are tough for people. So if you can afford to support this show, go to patreon.com/MattBinder. If honestly, we get like 5 to 10 people every month, that would be perfect. I don't need to, obviously once we get back on a upward trajectory, I can focus on really growing it. But right now I want to get it to the point where we're just not losing more people than we're gaining. So if you can, patreon.com/MattBinder. I ask for just $5 a month. You can give more. You can give less. It's on me to get you guys more content. It's on me to set up tiers, to give you guys more stuff. It's up to me to launch that newsletter. I know. But I also have not taken away from my output. I continue to do the same amount of shows and content that had, a lot more members subscribing to previously. So if we can just get back to that previous point, I'd feel good. And then I'll work on expanding it. I want to thank, let's see, we got Soren CF, Kinder K, and Justin W. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Subscribing at patreon.com/MattBinder. You can also support this show by going to youtube.com/MattBinder. Subscribe to the channel there. That's free. Become a member there if you'd like. That costs, I think that's like $5 a month or something like that. You get the emojis. You get a free super chat that goes with that membership. And then also, if you want to give a one-off, you could give it just a super chat, and I'll read it in the second half of the show we're going into right now. Also, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, go to connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and you can give me a free, for you, paid for me subscription. That's right. Amazon gives you a paid subscription pro bono. It comes with your Amazon Prime subscription to give to your favorite creator each month. Valinova just gave out 10 community gift subs over on Twitch. Thank you, Valinova. And Ponderosa Pine resubscribed for 1 month at Tier 1. Subscriber for 25 months. Ponderosa Pine's been subscribing to me via Twitch for over 2 years. Thank you so much, Ponderosa Pine. It really is a pleasure to have you watching all these years. And someone gave out a someone gave out a YouTube gift sub too. Let me shout them out. Charlie de Ginemer gifted a membership to me, to a lucky person in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support, guys and gals. I'll see you on the usual Thursday shows, Majority Report, Leftist Mafia. If you are a If you are a live stream viewer, if you're watching live right now, or you're a Patreon subscriber, don't go anywhere. The show is not going anywhere for you. Just stay right there. I'm taking a quick break. You'll see a quick Doomed Chiron on your screen, and I'll come right back on via the same feed. No difference. And I'll take your calls via Skype. Search Doomed Live on Skype, and you can call me there. You don't even need to download Skype. You just do it through the web platform on Skype at skype.com. But if you are listening to the freebie podcast at doomedcast.com, or on Apple Podcasts, or on Google Podcasts, or on Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, this is where I say to you, I will see you all next time on Doomed. Today on Doomed.
Logical collapse. Corporate fascism. Corporate journalism. Police brutality. Voter suppression. Austerity economics. Education masses. Rampant homophobia.
We got our first caller. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to talk about today?
I don't think you are exactly what you claim you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal? I'm pro-Green New Deal. Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. Really? I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
All right, we are back and already getting calls. Let's take them. Let's go right to the calls right away. This is what y'all missed out on last week. I only took like 1 or 2 calls last week. Let's do this. Whoa. What are you listening to there? Whoa. You gotta put on that volume, buddy. You gotta put on that volume, my friend.
Sorry about that, man.
That's all right. How you doing? Is this the man, the myth, the Hansi?
What's going on, man? Dude, I'm glad you covered this topic, man. Because the thing is right, is like, well, I'll get into the stuff with Vince McMahon still, whatever. I still want to talk about that with you, but as far as this migrant thing, man, like, you know how? Okay, here's the thing. One thing that I despise that like people who say they're on the left will do. Like, I understand, like, the Taylor Swift thing is so fucking ridiculous because I believe just the whole thing of mentioning her is, like, this, like, not that what to call she's a Democratic fucking, like, like a Democratic fucking, advocate to, like, get Biden reelected or whatever. Because if that was a goal, we wouldn't be knowing about that, okay? The fact that, like, this has become discourse, but my whole point of bringing that up is that a lot of celebrities. And okay, you can just say they're celebrities, but when you like when people like TYT go, oh, I want you guys to get out of the media bubble, and I want you to realize what an average American like Michael Rappaport thinks about the migrant crisis.
Did they actually? Like, are you just being funny, or did they actually say Michael?
No, she actually did a story where she used Michael Rappaport, even though TYT has been good on the Palestine-Israel stuff. They go, okay, well, I don't agree with his Israel stance, but this is an average American reacting to the migrant. So when you do stuff like that, between 50 Cent and between other people, like, bringing this up, 50 Cent's like, well, I might have to vote for Trump if this migrant thing doesn't get taken care of and all that kind of stuff. So
50 Cent, where's 50 Cent saying this?
He was going off about the immigrant. I think his main thing that he went off on I need you to clarify what the right wing's fear-mongering over this, but he was going off of the whole prepaid credit card for immigrants while there's homelessness and like
they have no right. There's no crossover. There's nothing connecting the two. Why do people do that? No one, does 50 Cent wonder if if he only didn't do his tax write-offs, that money could have gone to the homeless vets? Like, what is this bullshit? Like, there's nothing. One is nothing to do with the other. That movie, the money that's earmarked for vets is not going to migrants. It is the most ludicrous thing on the planet. It is a red herring. Is that the word? The term I'm looking for? It is bullshit. It is bullshit.
What's it called? Now, can I get conspiratorial with the right wing and say that this is a psyop to have a bunch of celebrities now advocate for why? Like when you put out like I don't know what news article put it out. Far leftist Michael Rappaport is thinking about voting for Trump. Like to me, that's a fucking. I'm just saying, if you're gonna use Taylor Swift as a psyop for, oh, they want to get Democrats elected, fine. I can believe that they use celebrities to manufacture fucking consent. I think they've been doing that with the anti-trans stuff as well. Like that's how I used to fall. Like for example, like 10 years ago, there was like a story, like there was a sensationalist thing to like make trans people look like they're predators. So they use like the R&B singer Genuine, a trans woman tried to give him a lap dance and he didn't like it. So then people started going, see, this is how trans people act. Like what I'm trying to say is they use sensationalist, and I know it's like celebrity shit, so no one's gonna care because it doesn't like seemingly affect politics. But I do think that there is something when it's becoming more obvious now where people are like so fed up with what's going on that they're now advocating for people like Trump or far right wing people, basically. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even guys like Killer Mike have kind of like aligned with that guy Kemp from Georgia. What they're called. So to me, it's like those are psyops to me, bro. What they're called, the fear mongering over the migrant stuff.
Right. It's just
If you-
ridiculous. It's honestly, and we've been here before. Like we know this issue, that the caravan, that was a major issue that Trump couldn't stop talking about in the lead up to the 2018 midterm elections. And then the second the midterm election was over, Trump, right-wing media, Republican politicians, all of a sudden not talking about this migrant caravan anymore because it was a completely manufactured issue.
Okay. And another thing about this NYPD story that with the migrants, there's one thing that I do and again, this is just me getting conspiratorial. Again, I can't prove what I'm going to say, but I'm just going to speculate. I know speculating is dangerous. I mean, the right wing thing is dangerous when you're doing it against them, but they can parrot like all kinds of stupid shit, like Michelle Obama being trans, whatever, and all that kind of shit. So these sensationalist stories where for example, Anna Kasparian puts out that these migrants attacked the NYPD officers. They all had criminal records and violent crime before. My personal feeling is that I believe that right-wing billionaires are putting money on the street for sensationalist stories where you make it seem like they're getting off because of bail reform, when I believe these people are Arkham Asylum weirdos, where like not just them, I'm talking about like any.
Well, the main issue is that we have been misusing bail in this country, in the legal system for decades. Like there is this belief that bail is a punishment for criminals but that's not what it is. It is simply meant to be a incentive to make sure the individual shows up to court for their trial. But that individual is not guilty of any crime at that point. That individual is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, no,
and bail reform just basically levels that playing field, because someone with money and means could commit any crime where bail would be involved and just pay it off and be on the streets again.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it in a more sane way, but I guess I always gotta live up to my gimmick and just be a little bit. I always just think that some of these things are being used as sensationalist shit just to basically get. And the reason why I always point out TYT, bro, is because they're still doing decent work as far as like maybe the foreign policy shit goes, right? I might not agree with everything where with what they say, but what's dangerous is that then they swoop in with these stories that are very right-wing orientated. I really do think there needs to be some investigation of who's putting dark money into their memberships. I don't believe that these memberships are genuine. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that these takes that, like, did you hear about, again, because you follow this and you follow it in a non-reactionary way. What's the story about a woke kindergarten that people, because she was bitching about that too. They were going, oh my God.
Watch it. We don't want to use. I don't care. I'm being silly with you. Woke kindergarten. Okay. We were talking. Someone in the leftist mafia chat, our little private chat, where we get ready for the week's. We share stories for the week so that we can be ready on Thursday with some topics. Someone put in. Apparently, I think that's what you're referencing. In terms of this is your quote, not mine. Someone was bitching about it. I'm assuming you're talking about individuals from TYT, because that's the clip that I saw. Woke kindergarten, which is some sort of program, which I assume is to, teach educators different ways to sort of teach various topics to students. That's my assumption. I mean, let me look it up.
That's what I assumed as well, because that's why I had to get your framing from it, because when you listen to reactionary people who go off on this stuff, like, you know what I mean? Because with the way that they made it seem, TYT at least, they made it seem like, oh my God, they're inherently teaching kids that they're racist because they're white. And I never, even if that's a repeated thing, whether it's Bill Maher saying, you know what I mean? Because again, more and more, Bill Maher and TYT are sounding the fucking same. And so that's why I was waiting to come on here and talk to you about it.
I'm looking it up right now. A California elementary school has reportedly spent $250,000 in federal funds to train educators to teach anti-oppression lessons and disrupt whiteness. The curriculum includes wonderings, which the organization defines as unconventional questions rooted in liberatory thought. If we challenge the legitimacy of the Supreme Court, how might we transfer power back to the people? One prompt poses. If the U.S. defunded the Israeli military, how could this money be used to rebuild Palestine? Another question asks. The curriculum also includes Lil Comrade convos about political topics. One convo centered on power. The program is called Woke Kindergarten. So here's my feelings on this.
Okay, go ahead.
I do think there's an issue here. I think schools shouldn't be paying $250,000 to what is essentially a consultancy group. I think it's money poorly spent, especially being that teachers and educators are so underfunded and poorly paid. I have no problem with the curriculum. We should be disrupting whiteness as it's taught in schools. Think about how so many topics are taught, and it's taught through the eyes of
the white system,
of white supremacists. White supremacy. I mean, we're taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America. I mean, come on. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It's, so I don't have a problem with the curriculum. I do have a problem with $250,000 being handed over to a consultancy group to do this. I don't see why a consultancy group can't charge $25,000, $50,000 maybe, but $250,000 sounds a little predatory in its pricing to me. But the money should be going to
things. It sounds like one of those things that I feel is like probably privately backed by, conservative groups. It feels like one of those things where, like, whenever you fearmonger about, like, whenever a corporation says, we're gonna solve racism, and they have these diversity, equity. I support the notion of bringing forth like how it can be unfair to people of color in these spaces and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like they're so sensationalized for the purpose of like people who might be mean, like people who are meaning well, and they go, well, I do want racial injustice, but this is crossing the line. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a topic that was
if your problem is with the use of that amount of money towards a program, towards any third-party consultancy program, and not that money going to directly into educators, teachers, to fund them for classroom supplies, which oftentimes they pay for, that they pay for out of their own pocket, doesn't go towards their salaries, paying them more. If the money is your problem, I agree with you. There's a problem there. I think that money is probably misused. You could certainly find a group to teach. I'll go to your school and teach this for I'll go to every school, any school across the country for $5K. And that you could throw in the plane tickets, the hotels, all inclusive, $5K. I'll go to whatever school. I'll go to Anchorage, Alaska. I'll go to Honolulu, Hawaii. I'll go to Bumblefuck, Montana. Wherever you want me to go, $5K, everything included. I think $250,000 over the top. But if your focus is on the content of what they're teaching, then you're fucking missing the forest for the trees. And I think you're an idiot, honestly. I think if you call yourself a progressive or a leftist and you have a problem with the curriculum there, I think you are out of your mind. And you're playing directly into whatever the white supremacist right-wing framing of it is. Because I'm sure they're going up in arms and throwing it all CRT and DEI. I'm sure they're using all the buzzwords. I'm sure they're going ape shit with this. Can't teach. We already seen where this sort of thinking lies. Can't teach that the Civil War was fought over slavery, and the southern states wanted to defend slavery, and they wanted to enslave black people, and that's why the Civil War was fought. No, we can't do that. Well, we can't teach that. They were fighting for their freedom, their rights. Oh, their rights to do what? Their rights, of course. Give me a break. We know exactly where that frame of mind is, and it's bullshit. If anyone on the left or any progressive is making that argument, I don't know. Maybe you should find another line of work.
This is what I think of. Like, I make the dude. I should make them. I honestly should break away from watching TYT. But I think the reason why is like I try to report to you guys to show you how far they've gone and how far they go. Because most of the time now, I think that I have your show, the Leftist Mafia show, and the Serfs streaming when they do stuff, and I think you guys handle stuff a lot better than a lot of these supposed
I'm looking over this curriculum thing again, and anyone who I don't understand how anyone on the left or progressive could be. It's so clear what they mean by this. I mean, I don't know exactly what the specifics in the curriculum that they teach are, but in terms of the words they use to describe disrupting whiteness or whatever, it's super clear. Like, how were you taught in schools about, for example, like Rosa Parks? Oh, she protested the good way. She just sat on the bus and wouldn't move. Oh, I wasn't taught very much about Malcolm X in elementary school. We were taught about Martin Luther King, but not about Malcolm X so much. Why is that? Oh, because one is considered now with history, at least with their role in history behind us, the white perspective has decided that one of them went about it in the good way, and the other went about it in the naughty way. I mean, it's so clear what is meant by this. And I fully agree that I fully agree with the idea that how we teach these topics in schools it's bullshit. It's ahistorical. It's rewritten from a white perspective in every topic.
Okay. I'm glad you could, because again with MLK, even when they cover him, it seems like they only cover a limited portion of him, because toward the end of his toward the end of his life, he was like kind of in a way, like it feels like he was kind of in a way by saying, yeah, what's it called, like he basically knew that he couldn't do it the way that the way they promoted him, because he felt like they weren't doing enough, like enough of like what are they called, the one that are neutral.
He was
like,
he was getting further radicalized on economic issues, and was getting further involved in the labor fight, and that was the talk that those were the talks he was giving towards the end of his life. I mean, it's clear that we're not taught so much about that. Even the race, the civil rights issues and the race aspects that were taught about Martin Luther King's activism, even that's whitewashed though. What is the not be judged by the color of their skin, and you always see the right flaunting that speech. Oh, we should be more like MLK and not, we shouldn't see color. That's not what he was saying. That's not what he was saying. But they go with, oh, don't see color like Martin Luther King's dream. That's not what he was saying.
No, dude, I'm glad I called in for that, because again, sometimes like when you look up a topic, right? So I looked up the woke kindergarten. All I was seeing was like the right wing, like the Elon Musk's buddies are the ones that get propped up, because again, like you have to like search. That's why I gotta specifically go to you and different people's accounts to see because again, if you mention Elon Musk, right, and I go, okay, search it by people that I follow. Some of you guys, like the Serfs or like Matt or your account, Matt Binder, whatever, or anyone else that's left leaning, it doesn't seem like it shows your tweets even mentioning them, even if it's like a year or so ago.
I will say I haven't been posting as much as I usually do these past couple of weeks. I'm having that break I took for during the holidays to just stay offline. I don't know, it disrupted my flow, and I'm not posting as much on. It's just not as fun as it used to be, honestly. Like, Elon Musk has definitely fucked up that platform. You can say whatever you want about people still posting there. I'm not saying it's dying. I'm not saying, we could discuss that it's not doing as well as it should be or did previously, but it's not dying, at least not yet. But the culture and makeup of the platform has radically changed, and it's honestly just not as fun to post on there. And my stuff still gets tons of interactions. It's not even like, oh, I'm one of those people who was affected by, because I got the blue, like I've been gifted the shame with the blue check. So my stuff is still getting seen. I just personally don't find it as fun to post on there. It's just, a lot of people who I enjoyed reading and interacting with don't post on there anymore.
I started getting the habit of like whenever I tweet out, because it doesn't really get tracked. Because ever since I got kicked out of the Stern Show, bro, I've lost any relevance. So in actuality,
you're more than relevant on this show, Hansi. So you don't need the Stern Show.
I thank you. But this is a good thing that like I can vent out my frustrations. And even if people are monitoring me or watching me, they can't admit that they're going to interact with my tweets. So it's kind of like I can tell whenever I get a little too political, then somebody with like no followers just randomly shows up, knows everything about me. You know what I mean? But like if I say something like, oh, I wish there was a hell I wish that hell did exist, because I want to know that Bill Maher is going to be fucking burning in it, because of like all the anti-woke shit he's spewing and all that. But listen, bro, before I go, I wanted to just follow up with because again, the Vince McMahon shit has gotten like, a little bit worse. But with this Ashley, it's a political question though. With this Ashley Mazzaro thing, right? Obviously, you should focus on McMahon punishing her for allegedly rejecting him, whatever, right? But the bigger question also, like as horrible as that is, whatever, right? As horrible as what she went through with the military servicemen who may have done it, whatever. One of the bigger questions needs to be asked. What? Okay, fine. You can I'm not saying it's fine regardless, but if it's in WWE, you can kind of get why they would cover up shit, right? Now, the big question for me is, what is so detrimental about this relationship between the military that you would cover up what military members did to one of your own fucking staff? Considering
they are so obsessed, or were so obsessed with their tribute to the troop shows and stuff like that. It's so clear that they use it as a huge marketing tool. That's basically what it comes down to. And I'm sure I'm sure you could look this up, but I have not looked it up right now in front of me because I wasn't expecting to talk about this. But I would be surprised if there wasn't some sort of, sponsorship, some, join the army ad campaign that goes through WWE. Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, it's disgusting, but it makes total sense knowing that company that's why they wanted her to shut up about it.
No, exactly, bro. And
it's disgusting that they did that.
No, I've been speaking about the Ashley Mazzaro thing, bro, since it came out in 2016. And thing is, bro, like she committed suicide, and it's like I'm so tired of people having to commit suicide before getting there. They shouldn't even have to have gone through this, but at least I wish she was alive to get her vindication. She deserved that. Because even some of the wrestling fans, when I was calling this out a few years ago, they would go, "Oh, did you know she was like a madame?" In basically saying that she was like a professional whore. And I'm like, okay, even if she was doing sex work, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you should be getting raped and having billionaires cover it up. Like, what the fuck is this shit where you like use that against them? Sure, there is sex work that goes on in these industries and all that, but that's not the like if women want to do, if women or men want to do that, I have no fucking issue with them wanting to do. See, again, people always get on me, like, because Tori Wilson just came out recently, and she said that she felt uncomfortable in these bikini segments, right? And so then whenever like there's a current woman who becomes more like sexualized and all that, listen, I think women are sexy as fuck. If they want to go in bikinis and all that, I'm all for it. I have to clarify that because I feel like a party pooper. Then I feel like an asshole for going, okay, does this woman want to do this? Or am I going to hear about it in 10 years that she felt pressured to do it? It's not just a wrestling thing. It's a part of the entire entertainment industry where, like, I feel like people will only amplify you or boost you up if you're not giving in to becoming more sexy. And I feel like that's why I feel bad if I should like be supporting some of these women that are flaunting it, because I don't know if in 5 years or so they're gonna be going, you know what, I felt pressure to do this. You know what I mean? So I feel, but at the same time, I don't want to ruin everyone's fun because like I don't want to be the asshole who goes, hey, you guys better not fucking amplify sexualized material. So I have no issue with people getting sexualized as long as they are consenting to it, if that makes sense, right? Like, am I an asshole for like even questioning if like current women are forced to do something if I know the patterns that exist? Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be an overly PC cuck soy boy or whatever the fuck they call me. But you know what I mean? I feel like an asshole even mentioning it, kind of, in a way.
I'm sorry. I feel like what is your what are you arguing here?
No. I'm saying that if someone like Tori Wilson, after so many years, comes out and says she felt pressured or uncomfortable doing these bikini things, right? So, right. But then at the time, you're like, okay, she enjoyed. Like at the time watching it, you're like, she enjoys doing this. There's no issue. Trish Stratus doesn't mind being stripped on national television. And then after several years or a decade, they come out and say, "Oh, I felt kind of pressured, or I didn't like what was going on." So then I start questioning shit in the current form of like, okay, so are some of these women on Instagram and all of that, like some of these women wrestlers, are they being pressured by these companies to also put
Oh,
like
right. Yeah.
thirst trap?
Listen, I don't. I like. That's the thing. Like, I'm not. I'm far from a prude. I think anyone should be like. I'm pro sex worker.
Me too.
I'm actually people. You know, this might surprise some right wingers, but I'm not like Mr. PC. I think anyone should be able to joke or put about anything, make any content they want. You know, put risque photos of themselves online, be in an adult movie if they want to. But the point is, it's got to be 100% their choice. With their consent, distributed in with how they want. They don't have a problem with it. I've brought up my feelings about racism and sexism and slurs and stuff in the form of movies and TV shows. That if it's part of a story, then it's put it in there. I'm not against that. Sex scenes in movies, which apparently is a big deal now with Gen Z. They're one prudish angle apparently. They're one conservative thing. I have zero problem with any of that. If you're telling a story, these things are important. Like if you're telling if you're writing a script about the KKK, it seems plausible that they'd be dropping the N-word. So you put that in the script. I got no problem with that. The idea that like
Welcome back to the Gen Z thing. So that's a good point. I don't listen. I think sex scenes, like if they want to have them in, I'm not gonna like. Do I think they're always useful? Like I go, some of them just seem redundant, but like I think it add to a plot. But I don't mind that. But like knowing about the casting couch, like sometimes I do wonder, are these women or men like being put out there? Then a couple of years, see again, it's always about what happens in the future because tomorrow, like for example, one woman who got shit for being like one woman who's getting shit on for being sexualized like last couple of years was this Chloe Bailey. She's very sexy, she's very beautiful, and what call people are yelling at her about sexualizing herself, and then and she was crying. I felt bad for her, but like I just don't want to like. I don't want to hype something up and then later on find out that they were uncomfortable and that like record executives.
Well, that's why I think things like obviously there are situations where I'm sure they can be being taken advantage of there, but that's why that's why a lot of angry men have issues with women on social media and on OnlyFans and on Twitch when they're dressed risque or whatever. It's because, obviously there are situations where maybe some individuals are being put up to it or something and they're being forced maybe. But with those offbeat situations aside, the vast majority of that space is obviously women having full power and control over their content and being the main benefactor from it too, in terms of making money off of it and it not being split between 100 different men in the business before it gets to their portion. You know what I mean?
No. That's 100%. Okay, no. That's 100% legit. Like again, I just want to clarify. I don't have any issue with anybody, man or woman, who wanna get sexualized. I don't want to come off like a fucking prude. I just like in my fucked up head, I always go, okay, I'm taking in consideration of past anecdotes and all that. So I would want to know if like they are 100% consensual about everything that they're doing, because otherwise I do feel fucking bad. But then I get shit on because it's like, oh, you're like sometimes I think that the entertainment industry promotes hypersexuality so that it gives a lot of these new conservative voices a reason to go, you see, women twerking on the street, this is getting out of control. Maybe we got to bring back, nuclear family values, basically. So I know that.
What are nuclear family values? Because historically, nuclear family values involved a lot of husbands beating their wives, cheating on their wives, having secret second families with a whole separate set of kids. That's been historically part of at least good old American family values in terms of the nuclear family.
So, and one more last thing. I know I keep mentioning it to you, but the way that we're talking about this, like all these like social issues, I'm telling you, bro, if you get a chance, you gotta watch Sopranos because it encapsulates the late 90s and early 2000s mentality so well that these things are aging well. Like if you don't watch any episode and you watch the Christopher Columbus episode, you're gonna like, even though the characters are racist, the voice, the voice of the entire show is like a left leaning type of show. Like it's actually people go, oh, Sopranos would not exist today with all the wokeness. Dude, it was a woke show back in the fucking day. It's about a gangster who goes to therapy and doesn't want to deal with his the trauma of what is gonna happen to him or his kids because of growing up in the information age and all that kind of stuff. Telling you, bro, you can watch it and watch it under the guise of it being a comedy, and don't root for any of the character, like any of like the main characters, because they're supposed to, that's why the writer of the show, he reminds the audience that these characters are pieces of shit. So he has to show you some dark shit that they do, but because most of the time they come off like likable characters. And I'm telling you, bro, you will fucking love this show, especially the Christopher Columbus episode. It's really, really good, man. Because mentioning this, because I want to talk to you about it, because I need to see your reaction with this show, bro. I'm telling you.
Which show?
Sopranos.
Oh! I'm sorry. I thought I got confused with your previous topic, and I got discombobulated. Yeah, I gotta watch it. I've seen episodes, but I've never seen. Yeah, I gotta.
No, for sure. Because I just need, dude. I think you would really fucking love this show, man. I really do. I know I keep bringing it up, but because the 25th anniversary just passed, and you know what I mean, and now we're all reflecting on it. So I'll leave you with that. But bro, thanks for having me on, and thanks for educating me on like the woke kindergarten shit, because I get confused with the right wing framing, and when there's a lot of people who do right wing framing, it's hard for me to fucking decipher. So I come to your guys' show, the Leftist Mafia.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Thank you for having me, and shout out to everyone in the chat. They're awesome. Your chat is like one of the best communities ever, bro. I feel like a rock star being in the chat, man. So
I will say I am rather I'm not taking credit for it, but by pure luck and I guess the content of my shows, I do think I have one of the smartest and also I don't know, most together with it sort of audience. One that during Leftist Mafia episodes makes me proud when other audiences put shame upon the YouTuber that they are watching.
So take it easy, man. Thanks for having me on. I don't want to take your time anymore, bro. Peace out.
No, it's been a great call. Thanks so much. All right, let me. Someone was trying to call in. Let's see. We got here we go. This person. Oh, wait. Let me take this call. This person's been trying to call in. 1 second, everybody. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Ewa, pura vida. I'm calling you from Central America, Costa Rica.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Raven. People call me Raven. A long story short, but my real name is Diego.
Hey, Diego. What do you want me to call you, Raven or Diego? It's fine with me either way.
You can call me Raven.
Okay, Raven.
More comfortable for North American audiences.
I knew Diego's in my life.
Yeah.
Can I pull up your video on the stream?
Yes, please.
Cool. So, Raven from Costa Rica, thank you so much for calling in. You had messaged me on Skype, and I wanted to take your call because of this episode specifically. You had said, hold on, let me pull up the chat here so I could. that you're a Latin American activist in Latin America, Costa Rica. I work human rights issues and also migration, ex-migrant myself. That's. I would love to hear from you. What would you like to talk about?
Gladly. Well, let me that small introduction, and let me just give a more broader sense of who I am, so people have a notion. I'm 42 years old. I've worked in the last 20 some odd years in matters of human rights. I'm also a major in law, sociology, history, and linguistics. And I also have other things there, etc. I'm Afro-Indigenous, original from this place. In fact, the name that you see there, Ditso, is a word in Bribri, which means seed. So give you that perspective. Regarding migration, I'm just going to begin by saying this. And I'm going to say it as a good old Latin American. The gringos are suffering the consequences of their own hubris and their own impacts of the policies and the constant and systematic intervention in our areas of America. For people to understand, for us, America is not just United States.
Right.
For us, America is the whole continent that spans from Argentina to Canada and the Caribbean. And a big parenthesis, Greenland. Greenland is part of America, but that's another conversation.
Right.
So, in this sense, one of the major factors that has been
Be careful with that one. We don't want the right wing to start going, let's send them all to Greenland then.
The orange guy wanted to buy Greenland.
Right, he did. Right. I forgot about that. Thank you for the reminder.
I tell you this thing, man. Look, one of the major things that is fueling the displacement of my people, and especially in vulnerable populations, especially Afro-Central American and Indigenous Central American, is the war on drugs. This policy that has lasted for the 60 years. And it's a bipartisan model. Both political parties have sustained the war on drugs. They have spent trillions of dollars. And look at the situation. My country, Costa Rica, is considered one of the most stable democracies in the region of Central America. Hell, we survived a whole bunch. You know, we survived the Contras, we survived the intervention of the United States. We're having problems with the war on drugs. You see, our homicide rate has gone up in the last few years because of that situation. I personally worked in my country, in Costa Rica, and 2 years ago, I was able to get medicinal cannabis legal in Costa Rica after working for 12 years to get it legal through my Congress. I have also assisted in 5 other countries to get that done. So right now, the migrant situation that is happening is directly fueled by the United States.
Right.
So
no, you're absolutely right. I feel I'm gonna have to cut this and put it in the first half of the show, actually, because I was so focused on the topics that I was covering there that I missed bringing up this very relevant, important aspect of it all. It is the central aspect of it all. The U.S. has destabilized a lot of these countries and has done horrible things, honestly, to the whole of from Central America to to South America, Mexico as well, and we're now basically seeing what happens when you do that. These people need to go somewhere because we've screwed up what they had going where they lived.
I think it's important and very important to also say, okay, look, one of the major pillars that is fueling the situation is gringo interventionism at its best. The other pillar that is actually fueling this is our own internal issues. If we go to the main countries that mobilize towards the United States, which is Mexico, and the Triangle of the North, which consists of Guatemala, Honduras, Salvador, and in lesser aspect, Belize. And then the particularities of Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama, if we focus to where this are mobilizing. But if we look at what the other section of it is actually fueling this, is the incoming of Africans and Chinese through into Colombia and crossing the Darien Gap, which is a natural division that happens. It's a natural reserve of a big ass forest. I've walked this and I've been there several times, and that fuels into the displacements and the mobilizations of the Latin Americans. So not only, like we say in Spanish, de salimos de Guatemala para caer en Guatepeor. O sea, we came out of bad water for worse water. And that being said, yes, the particularities of the different countries in the Latin American region, and most particularly on right now, well, it was used to be 2, now we're talking 4, which are the Venezuelan situation with the exodus of 7.7 million people. People don't realize that the 80% of those migrants did not go to the United States. The 80% of those migrants arrived to either Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico, or Spain. Because a lot of Venezuelans detest North Americans for many various reasons. And we want to speak Spanish. What the hell? Let's also say that. It's more comfortable to migrate to a country where you actually speak the language than having to be forced to a country where you speak English and it gets difficult. You know? That too. But the problem being here is that you have... I'm sorry if I'm taking the whole thing.
No, please. I'm enjoying. Please, it's very interesting. Go ahead.
So fundamentally, you see that those particularities added to the impacts of the war on drugs. Give you an example: the Mexico, the Felipe Calderón between 06 and 12 of the century. If you hear me saying the dates, I don't use Gregorian calendar. I use the Halsey calendar. So you'll hear me saying 11,000 or 12,024 as a year. So I add 10,000 years more to the current Gregorian. Well, anyways, on the years 12,006 to 12,012, that was the Felipe Calderón presidency in Mexico. Felipe Calderón, in accordance with the United States, militarized the fight against the cartels, etc. And that, in 6 years, produced the following: over 100,000 dead and over 40,000 disappeared. That's just in a period of 6 years. If we graph in a period of 20 years, meaning from the beginning of 12,000 or 2000 up to today, we see that the deaths between Mexico and Panama are reaching 250 million in those 24 years, related, directly caused by the war on drugs. Now, the population here in Central America, without adding Mexico, is about 45, 50 million. If we add Mexico, that's about 180 million. Look what that has been doing to our society, to our populations. If we add Latin America, the population here is 660 million people. Just adding the population of the United States, that's 900 million people living here. The impacts of that is clearly reflected on the fact that our countries, and particularly those that suffered through the Contras and the Contra situation, have had a diminishing population. So you have bigger and older populations, but younger populations are beginning to decline, because the rate of death and the people who are most impacted by that is the age range of 18 to 40. So when I hear the I'm sorry for my French, but if I hear the bitching of the gringos regarding migration and this whole ridiculous thing about them going to the damn border and acting up as simply your simple classic xenophobic nationalist individuals who have no humanity or who have lost all humanity to understand the situation, and adding insult to injury, hearing some of the Latin American communities, the so-called Hispanics, there's no one in the Latin American community up there that can debate to me that being called Hispanics is the most stupid thing ever. But anyhow, that shows to us that the gringo exceptionalism, the United States exceptionalism, the Estados Unidos, la excepcionalidad norteamericana, is a farce. Because the project of America 200 to 250 years ago, when we, all of us, including the United States, starting with the United States, but then following Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Central America, South America, etc., we became independent of Europe. We are the ones who created that notion of American dream, of saying we become free, we established the republics, we established the constitutions, we took your European ideas of enlightenment and we applied them. Something you couldn't do in Europe. We did it. And then within 30 years of independence of the United States and the start of independence of the different countries of Latin America, 30 to 50 years, we see, for example, my country had, within 30 years of my independence, and Nicaragua's and Mexico's, etc., we had to defend our independence again because some people of the South, of the William Walker affair, decided to come here to invade us, to make us slaves. And you don't get taught that because William Walker was the loser. We killed him. We murdered his ass, and we're proud of that. 50 years afterwards, you have Nicaragua with the Estrada rebellion, where the United States invaded Nicaragua, and that's 11,909 to 11,912. And yet again, on post-war, during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you had the Contra situations, you had the so-called leftist rebellion happening in Central America, in those particular countries, and again, the United States comes in and has set up. So it's not like it's just one time where United States is it's been 165 years or more where we've had to tolerate that. And we're reaching the boiling point of saying no more, You displace our people. Yes, we have our own internal problems that augment and conjoin to the problem of the impacts of the war on drugs. We're trying to solve it, but how the hell do you want us to solve it when systematically the United States is telling us, you have to go here, you have to do this, you have to do that? What the hell? I mean,
getting involved, putting their finger on the thumb and getting directly involved in elections. Yeah.
But look at this. The orange, I know you may be impressed in this, but some of us call Donald Trump the Maduro of the United States, or the Hugo Chavez of the United States, or the Daniel Ortega of the United States, or the Pinochet of the United States. Yeah, we call him by all those names. He's the populist. So
I worry about that framing even.
One day we'll talk about that, why we say that, because for people like me who are not leftist or right or etc., we're not even centrist, we're Latin American. You could qualify us as Latin American liberals in the sense that we stand for the republics, we stand for freedom, we stand for human rights, etc. But anyhow, look at the orange dude comes out, does the classic move that we've seen over and over again in Latin America, loses the elections. The elections were rigged. He gets 60 court cases, loses all the court cases, and still cries like a little baby, like the little dictators we've had in the past in Latin America. But who does he get support from in Latin America? Brazil. They tropicalized Donald Trump, Bolsonaro.
Right.
And what does Bolsonaro do when he loses the election?
Cries.
And that's exactly what Donald Trump did. They actually marched into
Tries to take
Congress.
over. Yep.
And tries to take over. He's now facing his due process, etc. You know.
Yeah.
And not only that.
Now you got it. Now you
have,
got in Argentina too. Another one of them. Yeah.
Milei is the new era Menem. If nobody knows who Menem is, go investigate him. Menem was the ideas of Milei are not new for Argentina. Menem, back in the 80s, had those same ideas. So, sorry, it's the passion.
No, this was honestly. This is I trust me. I let you go on because this is a great call. This is very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it really, like, Americans do it to themselves. I hate even framing it that way because I personally think what makes the U.S., what made the U.S., whatever good the U.S. does have, it's that we are a country that's made up of people from everywhere. That's, to me, that's the one good thing about this country.
Let me tell you something. Look, le voy a ser franco, y no como España. I'm going to be frank and not like in Spain. I hope you get the reference.
Right.
When I got to the United States, I was 9 years old, my first time. Okay. By the age of 9, I had already lived in Mexico, Argentina, Venezuela, and Costa Rica. By the age of 9, that was my 4 major countries, because my father, who rest in peace, was the ambassador to Venezuela to these countries. Venezuela and Costa Rica were home centers because that's where my families were at. My mom's family in Costa Rica, my father's family in Venezuela. So Costa Rica, Venezuela were my homes. Mexico and Argentina were the embassies my father had obtained after I was born. Okay. Then he got the representation to the OEAs. You know what the OEA is?
It sounds familiar.
The Organization of American States.
Oh, right. Okay, I know what that. When did I last? They got involved with with Bolivia, right? That's where I last remember reading them. Yeah.
So the OEAs is the Pan American organization that has been there, saying, "Hey, we're all Americans. We sit down at the table. We discuss all of these things."
Right.
Of course, biggest criticism one has regarding the OEA is that it's sitting in Washington, D.C. Anyhow, so I arrived in the United States without speaking an ounce of English. And I was just 9 years old. You're just starting to speak Spanish. And I was in my middle school, I was being taught French and Portuguese. In a question of 6 months, I started speaking English. I lived in that first time in the United States from the age of 9 to 16, 17. During the eras of George Bush father and Bill Clinton. I left at almost at the end of Bill Clinton. I met both of them. I met George Bush and I met Bill Clinton. Being a kid of 9, 10, 11 years old, type of thing.
Right.
And, well, things happened in Venezuela. They changed. My father decided to divorce. My mother was tired of embassies. But we end up in the Ecuadorian representation. So by the age of 16, 17, I've been living in 5 countries in this continent.
All over the place, yeah.
We returned to Costa Rica, my mom and I, after my parents divorced. I finished my high school here. And by the age of 18, I lived through one of the major social protests here in Costa Rica, which was the convoy. That lasted for 2 months. We were getting hit by the police. I was part of the university, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And then after that, I took a trip from Alaska all the way to Argentina in a motorcycle with a friend. Him on his motorcycle, me on my motorcycle. I
up
focused
to
myself-
Alaska. Wow, that's a trip.
Yeah, we just took mainly we focus on the Interamericana. That it's about 30,000 kilometers. So it goes from all the way to Alaska, all the way down to pretty much Chile. And basically, in that whole thing, I focused myself in knowing my heritage. And what was that heritage? That I belong to that major diaspora of Afro-American or Black American or whatever you want to call. And also that I belong to the indigenous. Of course, I know by fact that I'm from Costa Rica, and my main little point of heritage is Costa Rica. But I also belong to that major diaspora. And then I took my trips to the Caribbean. So by the age of 25, I had already traveled through 35 countries.
That's well traveled. I mean, I've not been to very many countries. I've been to 3 countries.
Yeah. So why am I telling you this? Is not to brag. It's to give you that perspective.
Right. No, that yeah.
For us, the Latin Americans, America, this concept of America, we know it was given to us by the colonizers. We know our history. We know United States history. We know Canadian history. We have elements of our different populations. We can draw those elements in order to continue looking to what is the present and the future of our freedom.
Right.
But all this, the words of Simón Bolívar ring in my head every single time, which is, he said that United States seems destined by providence to plague America with misery in the name of liberty. And it pains me, because when I returned to the States, I lived in DC. I traveled through the areas of Maryland, Virginia, Connecticut, New York, to Rhode Island. Then when I returned, I was able to live in the southern states. I was in Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and Texas, and I did go to Las Vegas. Couldn't avoid it. Anyhow, and then I lived in California.
It's worth going at least once.
And I also dabbled in that. So after I do all that, when I see the North American politics, I'm sorry to say it this way, but it's like imperialism and exceptionalism and ignorance had a intimate relationship and made the worst kinds of stupidity that one can have. But then when I turn to Latin America, it's like the stupidity is here too. What the hell?
Right.
I mean, come on. We're better than this. But it happens. It's there. So now, 200 to 250 years after the projects of independence that are not over yet, that's the interesting part. People don't realize this. Greenland is just about to be independent from Denmark. We have to juggle with this reality. Whilst we're trying to survive, whilst we're trying to do our better things, whilst we have to own up our own F-ups, at the same time, our things we've done right, we still have to deal with that noisy neighbor that talks too loud. And when you say, hold your horses, that neighbor says, I'm free, free speech, guns for everybody. And you're like, dude, seriously? That's what you're gonna just say to us after everything? Sorry, it's venting. It was a
No,
venting moment.
I no, please. I hear you. I think in many ways people are alike all over, and that's what sort of that's what you find out when you. But that's also like the thing that makes, in some ways that's bad, but in some ways that's also the unifying thing. It's sort of like why are we treating someone differently just because of we just lost them. Ugh. We lost them. That was a great call, though. But let me finish my thought. Why do we treat someone differently based on what they look like or where they're from? It goes deep into, I think, a number of issues, honestly, and some of which we touched upon here with Raven. But great call. Great call. I really appreciate. Oh, he's calling back in. Let's see what happened. Hey, lost you for a second. There you are.
Yeah, sorry about that. My lights flickered for a moment, and it may have dropped the internet just for a moment.
No, don't worry about it. I was just, about to wrap up the conversation anyway. But I was just gonna say, great call. Really, I think the idea that you got cut off on was, I was saying, like, in many ways, people are like all over, and that's what makes it so sort of depressing. That this anger and hatred over someone or a group of people based on what they look like, what language they speak, where they're from is so stupid. But there is a long history of people all over being like that, but especially it's deeply embedded in the very founding of the United States.
I guess it's interesting. I've been speaking to you in English all this time, and obviously sometimes I just take out the Spanish, and if I wanted the French, the Portuguese, etc. But you're right in one sense. One cannot generalize a country because of the actions of those few in that sense. But when those few are the government and have major power, then it's not a question of generalization. It's a question of demanding accountability, for crying out loud. And that's what we're doing. We're not against, look in Panama, just November. A Panamanian, a U.S. citizen lawyer with dual nationality, Panamanian, and there were protests because of mining projects that were there, and the guy comes out and shoots two people. That's the thing that we're tired of. The entitlement to think that United States, just because some in there think, oh, we're the best country in the world, look at us, yada, 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 that gives them the entitlement to then step on us with their boots. And when we get angry and we bite back, they get mad. That's the thing. And hopefully this message starts reaching more people. We ain't your enemies. And the situation of the migration, have a little bit of humanity, understand why it's happening and what are the things fueling it. Most of those people that are displaced and moving upwards, they don't want to leave their homes. But they're forced to because of the conditions. And that notion of legality and illegality, the difference is an economical one. Because people don't realize when you say people should migrate legally, do you know how much does it cost to migrate? Do you know how much a person that uproots his life on country A to go to country B has to invest? And if that person is married, either man, woman, or woman, man, if that family has kids, 1, 2, 3, 4, however, when they reach the new country, where they're going to put the kids, how they're going to eat, what's all that type of thing. So this bitching about the migration shows to us that those gringos that are bitching are so blinded by their nationalism and exceptionalism that you just get pissed off and you just want to. But I thank you. Thank you for the time, man.
No, thank you. It was a great call. Really appreciate it, Raven. And please feel free to call in again in the future and have a great night.
Hey, you too. And let me say goodbye, like my people. Pura vida que se me la cuida. And in the language of my people, Beshko Woblaba, which means walk with your eyes open.
Love it. Love it. Take care.
Pura vida.
That was a very interesting call. I enjoyed that. We'll take one more call. Why not? Let's take another call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Forrest from California.
Hey, Forrest. How you doing? What was it to talk about?
I'm good. Part of this is just me ranting about my my employer, but so I wanted to call in and talk about how dumb business culture has gotten.
Okay.
So
I'm shocked.
Right?
Business culture? No way.
Right? So I'm sure you've heard about the massive storm that hit California recently.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
So there was this they called it an atmospheric river, which basically means that the sky dumped a river onto California, like all of California.
Nice.
Yeah, so there was a 24-hour period where there was 12 inches of rain.
Oh, wow.
Which is, yeah, it was crazy. I can't hear you.
No, hello. You hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. Okay. So that happened, and it just like devastated our. I work security for a college campus. I'll try to avoid giving too much information about where specifically, but it's kind of it's a very rural college, so we kind of get shafted when weather events happen. Like it's to the degree that we built our own power plant because we were so tired of the power going out. But anyway, so the college has basically instituted this policy where if your car gets crushed by a tree, they're not liable. Because we get hit, first of all, the land is really terribly maintained. Like they don't do anything to clear trees or to make sure they're not about to just fall over and crush someone's car. There's even a tree that's hanging over one of the dorm buildings, and they're not doing anything about that. Like it's hanging over it at a diagonal. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And they've been really going hard on trying to like pinch every possible penny. So
not surprising.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they actually tried to get rid of the security department for like a day. And then my boss had to explain to them, like, if you get rid of the security department, you're going to lose out on a ton of grants because it's like mandated by law that you have to have one.
What do you mean a security department? Like
the security officer who breaks up fights and
geez. Just no security on campus? That sounds unsafe.
Right? Yeah, and keep in mind, like, we're kind of an insular, it's a kind of an insular religious college, which means everybody that goes here is like very wealthy and well connected. So like cutting corners in that way is wild because these are not the kinds of people who just like, oh darn, I've been oppressed, I guess there's nothing I can do, I don't have the money to fight back, you know. Like these people have the money to do something about it. They have the influence to do something about it if they feel their children's safety has been like endangered, you know.
Right.
And even very minor things, like they refused to install a security camera on the gym building after a visiting team's coach got his tires slashed. Yeah. You would think there would already be one there, but I mean, I'm not one of those like big brother, everybody needs to be spied on at all times kind of people, but that's a very basic safety thing. Like, people get really riled up about sports. You probably want a security camera in the gym parking lot.
You know, I don't necessarily have a feeling on that particularly. I think we have too many cameras.
No, I agree. It's just like we can't do anything about it when that happens because we didn't see it. There was no way to see who did it. We can't punish anyone or like address the issue in any way that in any meaningful way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, maybe that one I'm not so. You don't have me. I think there should be obviously generally security on a campus to make sure that no one off campus who is not a student makes the students unsafe. But in terms of surveillance, I don't really.
But this is a special situation because they really fucked up on slashing his tires. So they punctured it really weakly. So it didn't die until he was, we're on top of a mountain, basically. The tire didn't go out completely until he was halfway down the mountain. So he almost died.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that happened. I mean, it's obviously a college is going to have its issues with security, but I'm just concerned about like the way the management is completely unconcerned with even investing the slightest penny into any form of safety measures or like basic land maintenance or building maintenance. I mean, I almost got killed by maybe I'm probably not killed, but I almost got clunked in the head by a piece of metal a while back, a couple years ago.
Jeez.
Because I opened a door and luckily I wasn't walking through the door. I just moved the handle to check if it was unlocked, and it was unlocked. I opened the door and the door frame fell. Yeah, like think of like a 10-pound piece of metal that just fell out of the doorway. Like that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Jeez. So things are falling apart there.
Yeah, things are really falling apart. They don't want to spend any money on it.
And what school is this again?
I'm trying not to be too.
I'm guessing it's a public institution?
It's technically a private institution.
Oh, then I mean, there's not much. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother.
It's affiliated with kind of a culty Christian church kind of thing.
Yeah, so this is a different issue than what I thought we were talking about here. This is
no, it's not a public institution. It's that's why I was saying it's business culture, not like
right. Yeah, we always see businesses cutting corners wherever they can. That's not. Yeah, I mean, look at Boeing. I mean, it's the perfect example. It's the perfect example, at least for right now. It's insane that you would even cut corners on something like that. I mean,
oh, for sure.
But yeah, this is.
I was just trying to tie it into a general point of like how dystopian like our business class has gotten, like in terms of just their inability to do even basic levels of like maintenance or just doing the bare minimum of what they theoretically are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a student whose car got crushed by a tree. I've seen trees that just fall into the roadway and shatter. Like, imagine if there had been a car going by at that moment. Like, somebody could have died or gotten their car crushed because the college didn't want to clear dead trees. I mean, and the crazy thing is they have a forestry department. They could do it. They don't even really need to spend that much money, like extra in terms of what they're already spending.
Right. Well, Forrest, thank you for the call. It's 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 something I think we're seeing across the board. It's not new either. I think we're well aware that companies skimp and cut, and I mean oftentimes even put their own employees in danger without even thinking twice about it, all to save a buck.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you.
Take care. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, let's go to the super chats now, and all right, I will take one last quick call. Here we go. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from? And make it quick.
I will make it quick. Hey, Matt.
Can I put you up on the feed? Can I put you up on the feed?
From Maryland.
Hey,
Do you remember?
Hey, Danny from Hey, Danny from Maryland. Can I put you up on the screen?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, what's up?
If you remember, I'm a photographer in schools in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Right.
So I had a school in yesterday, Maryland. Yesterday in DC. Yesterday. Instead of where I live in Maryland, but I've grown up in PG, Prince George's County, which is the closest county to DC. We call it gorgeous Prince George's. But yeah, so on the way back, like 2 minutes after I left the school, I was passing on this huge bridge, right? And there's graffiti on the bridge, like huge graffiti. And usually, like in when I was growing up, it'd be like, okay, it would say "suck my ass" or something. It would say something, just rude or whatever. But it said "Free Palestine," and I was like, I just wonder like what you think about that. Like, I really feel like a lot of people are getting the message. The fact that like the graffiti DC, is saying "Free Palestine." I think I don't know. I found it a little inspiring, a little bit.
I've seen quite a lot of Free Palestine graffiti myself around me too. Yes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I really do think young people. This is the radicalizing moment for young people.
That's the vibe I get. And I find that hopeful.
This is for real. This is
Yeah,
I think
it's more
this
direct.
is
It's not like just
spoken
fuck
to
authority.
them.
It's specifically Free Palestine. It's like a specific thing. They're paying attention. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah,
that's the majority of what I want to say. I just thought that was it lightened my day a little bit just to see someone else saying what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Like,
it's also nice to see it in a place you're not suspecting.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like half a mile from the school, and I pass under this huge bridge, and it's just like it's like I don't know. I would say like it was about like 8 by 8 feet. Like it's just big right there. And I don't know. It's sort of like, thank you. Like, I had a long day of work, and I'm like, oh, nice. All right, cool. Someone's thinking what I'm thinking. That's cool. I don't know. I found it a little. I just wanted to give her a little bright spot. I want to make it quick. That's all. Just a little bright spot that someone else out there is thinking about it so much that they're willing to go and do some light crimes for the good.
I like the description of light crimes. I like that.
Yeah. No, I like it. It cheered me up, and they're doing for the greater good. I love it.
Absolutely. No, I mean.
Yeah. I just want to share that with you. I thought
no,
of
it's
you
really
when I
it's
saw
really
it. I
interesting because I
know.
noticed specifically. I mean, I've seen a few pieces of graffiti around, but I did actually myself see a very large Free Palestine graffiti in a suburb of New York City that I was not expecting, in a place I wasn't expecting to see it. Like a neighborhood that I was not expecting. Like, not because, it's just not a very politically active area. It's just sort of, a place where, people go to work, kids go to school,
Right.
It's sort of like full of families and stuff. Not really, it's not where like the arts and culture of New York City essentially is. And
Right.
and so that was interesting for me because it
This
means that
isn't. Yeah.
one of those kids one of the neighborhood kids or a few of the neighborhood kids decided this is something they wanted to get out there.
Yeah. Exactly. Like this is I think northwest DC. So it wasn't exactly the area that you would think be like a more political area. It was more like a lot of families live here kind of area of DC. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like close to the capital exactly, anything like that. It was just like, this is the different part. It wasn't the part you would expect it in, I guess, is what I'm saying. So it was good to see. But yeah, it kind of cheered me up. So you don't see that. Like every once in a while, you'll pass under a bridge and see some dumb shit. Occasionally, you see some good stuff, but sometimes they'll hang like Trump 2024 signs and stuff too. But not as much in DC. That's more of like South Maryland. But it's nice to. I drive a lot. It's nice to see some good things here and there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Like Maryland is pretty fucking blue, especially the area I'm from. But like, when I have to travel a lot, and some parts of Maryland, there's a specific road that I see this sign every single time. It's just in the same place, but this guy, I guess some psycho changes. It's like a QAnon guy, and he changes it like every 2 weeks, and it's got a new, whatever the new QAnon thing is, it's up on that sign every 2 weeks. Like if I have to go to Southern Maryland, it's so weird. Like it's like he's clearly Q pilled. He's crazy. Like it is specifically Q stuff, and it's new. He changes it, he rotates it, and it's way up there. He uses a crane to get it up there. He puts in way too much work. I think it's on like, is it like 70 or something? I don't know. I have to drive on the road all the time, but I think it's like 70 or something. I don't know. Whatever. It's good to see good things on the road. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I was trying to like end your show on a light note, that something, at least people care. Young people are doing something good. I love it.
Does the guy like post like Q drops on there, like Q drop 53?
Yeah.
That's.
There's a lot of stuff about shots, but then 2 weeks later, it's about just something about Biden being like evil, but there's that whole dynamic where he's like, oh, he's old and decrepit, but he's also an evil mastermind. So which is it? Yeah. So he doesn't.
Could be a little bit of both.
It could be a little bit of both. I mean, he's pissed me off right now, but it's a little bit of both. But they can't figure. But that's like the whole fascist like ideology thing too, like where like the enemy is both like super powerful but also weak, or like that's the whole thing. Which that checks out with QAnon. I don't know. Whatever. I just want to share that. It was a bright spot for my yesterday, and I wanted to end you on a light note, hopefully. I don't know. It's the kids are all right, is what I'm saying. Kids get it.
Yeah.
That's all. That's my point. Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you called in, because it was it's a lighter note to end on. So we always need that. We always
the kids
need
get it. I'm just trying to cheer you up. I'm sorry. Things are dark lately. I wanted to end you on a light note, but I didn't want to take up too much of your time. So thank you for taking it.
No, thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah. Have a great night, Matt.
Bye.
See you later, bud.
All right, folks. I think we're going to end now. It's past midnight. I got to read these super chats. So we're going to call it a night. Thank you to... Where did it go? Thank you to... And I'll shout you out in the first half of the show, too. is it? Hold on. Oh, here it is. Tyler C., thank you so much for becoming a patron at patreon.com/MattBinder. Your support makes this show possible, for real. It really does. Can't do it without the patrons. And the YouTube members and the Twitch members. Social Lust with a $10 super chat. Keep up the good fight, Matt. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Wow. That's a nice, what a nice super chat. Crewherx with a super chat. John Laurinaitis is flipping on Vince, by the way. Tonight's Dynamite was incredible. Highly recommend. Yes, I heard John Laurinaitis flipping on Vince, the Ashley Massaro story. Fine. This is a whole nother episode. I don't want to stick it in the back of the second half of the show here. But yes, I'll have to check out Dynamite. What made it so incredible? John Deere with a super chat. Conservatives in Chicago have used migrant hysteria to hide falling crime numbers and an improving economy under a teachers union mayor. Yes, that's a good point. John Deere with another super chat. Fun fact, Texas shipped migrants to Chicago for a year and crime has only dropped. John Deere with another super chat. FYI, Illinois ended cash bail too and crime is down a lot. Yeah, that seems to be the the factor in all these cases, yes. I think in New York too, crime is down. My dad with a super chat. Matt, put up the call-in info from Anne in the UK made for you. Oh, I forgot. I don't have it ready to go, Dad. Sorry. I'll have to sit down and get it ready. But thank you for the super chat, the membership super chat. Wanda with a $5 super chat. It would be great to clip that call from Costa Rica. It was educational. Yeah, it was. That's a good idea. If I find the time to clip it, I absolutely will. Now over on Twitch. Frosty Coconuts subscriber Prime. Thank you so much, Frosty Coconuts. 90 subs. Very nice. Over on Twitch. Once again, patreon.com/MattBinder to support the show. Folks, Majority Report Thursday. Leftist Mafia Thursday. That's the show for today. That's the show. I hope you enjoyed. Getting back into the swing of things as 2024, as we're now in February already. Jeez, where did January go? Still feels like the beginning of the year. I mean, it's still the beginning of the year, but it feels very much in the beginning of the year. J Cass says, forgot to get Raven's channel info with a super chat. Oh, I forgot to. I'm sure he'll call back in. Who should I raid on Twitch? Oh, wow. Hold on. Let me quickly. Anne from the UK just sent me this. She said, rushed Hansi. And this is what she's talking about. Look at that. That looks just like Hansi. It's like a Wii. What were they called? Wii characters? It's like a Hansi gone Wii. Nintendo Wii. What were they called again? I don't remember. I'm tired. It's midnight. 2.5 hours so far. Let's see. Oh yeah, raiding people on Twitch. Who should I raid? Who's Charlotte Munster? That's someone new. I see a few people saying Charlotte Munster. I've never rated a Charlotte Munster. Oh, it's the same person, but in two different in Twitch and YouTube. Who's Charlotte Munster and what is she talking about? What kind of channel is that? Oh, is this the one that someone tried to get me to raid last time and it's like an adult channel or something? Playing Power World. No, I'm not going to support that. That's the thing I don't support. Power World. Me, yes, that's what it is. The Wii characters are called Miis. I forgot about that. All right, we got USA Hole or Riverboat Jack. Who am I rating? I'll rate Riverboat. I rated Riverboat Jack recently. I don't think I've rated USA Hole recently. Oh, wait, Letter Hack is on? I don't see Letter Hack. All right, everyone's going to Riverboat Jack, so you know what? Let's raid Riverboat Jack. Because it makes no sense then to raid someone and then everyone just leaves anyway. So I'll raid Riverboat Jack. Stick around. I'm raiding right now. Here we go. Nothing. I want to raid both Riverboat Jack and USA Hole. I recently raided Riverboat Jack, but if everyone's going there, then let's send you all there. Starting the raid. All right, everyone. See you all Thursday if you're watching Majority Report or Leftist Mafia. Otherwise, see you all next time on Doomed.